So, hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's CalFX here, and I'm back with another one. So, I hope you guys had an incredible, great week. I mean, for me personally, this was a great week. I mean, I should even say that this has been a great month. Also with the results. I mean, on the private group, the signals, I mean, have been incredible as well. So yeah, I mean, the markets have just been generous. I mean, if you really, been on the charts this week, I think you really, had a great week. But I mean, yeah, this has been, I mean, this was a great week. I think it was better than the previous 2 weeks. If, even though both weeks, all the weeks have been profitable anyway. But, this was a great one. And yeah, just keeping that consistency every single day, repeating the same thing. That's how you get consistency, right? It's not about changing strategies and stuff like that, but it's about doing the same thing and being patient, right, with the results. Eventually you will, start to see the profitability kicking in, right? So enough of talking, let's get into the video. So today we're gonna start with Euro USD as always, and we can just start from the daily time frame. If you look at Euro USD, we can see that, I mean, the daily time frame, the order flow is bullish, right? It's just simple to see. We can see series of high highs, higher lows. So now we have this point of interest if we have this one at the extreme. So I'm still expecting, because if we look at the range, from this range low all the way to this range high, usually I'm very comfortable to buy anything around 50%. So we can see the price actually came below 50%. So this is just the discount zone. So I'm willing to look for buys from this zone, and also this this area sitting below, right? So it's just very valid zones for buys. So if I bring, this is a demand zone. I mean, this is the daily demand, but I ended up refining on the 4 hour. So if we drop down to 4 hour time frame, I think we can use the 3 hours time frame. So we have the 3 hours time frame right here. So as far as we can see, if we look at the structure, right, the first question you ask yourself, okay, what is the structure? Is it bullish or bearish? We can clearly see that it's still bearish. So usually when price comes to my daily demand zone, I like to wait for hourly change of character. It's a much better confirmation for buy, for me to change my bias from sales to buys. As of now, I'm looking for sales because the structure on the hourly is still bearish, right? So we have this swing low, swing high, price made this low, price just came to this supply zone, and we can see the initial reaction right here. So I'm still expecting sales, right, on Euro USD. If we drop down, for example, to 30 minutes time frame, usually when price comes to my hourly point of interest, I like to wait for M15 change of character or M30, right? So if we look at what went on right here, is that we had this previous high, and we can see the liquidation right here of this previous structure high, and we can see the V-shaped recovery. This usually is this aggressive in and out, right? Most of the time it's just the liquidation. Then we see price pushing, I mean, aggressively to the downside. We can see that we had this internal structure low. So if you mark this as a break of structure, we can see that we have a very clean zone sitting above right here. So on Monday, I will be looking to see what's going to be the reaction at this point of interest. Maybe during London, I'll be able to find a lower time frame opportunity to sell all the way down to probably take this hourly previous low right here, because the structure is still bearish, right? So if it's bearish, we expect the lows to be violated and the highs to be protected. But I'll be looking to see what's going to be the reaction on a lower time frame at this point of interest, and then my long-term, I mean, at least the daily target is going to be this hourly low, right? So we can maintain that hourly bearish order flow. Now, there is a possibility that price may come all the way down, for example, to this point of interest sitting below right here. I will still also monitor the reaction here, because there is a possibility that price may come right? And it may start to push to the upside. But as I said, in order for me to buy, I need to see the hourly change of character. So even if price starts to come all the way up, I will remain patient to see the hourly to give me a change of character, so then I can buy. So as of now, my bias is sells for Euro USD, right? So let's move to the next page. So Aussie dollar, I mean, it's simple. We can just start real quick from the, let's just look at the monthly, right? I mean, I believe that we have some new people on the channel. So if we look at the monthly time frame, I think it's very clear to see that the structure is still bearish. We broke structure, price then came back, mitigated the extremity of this range low and high, right? This range high and low. So we came to this supply zone, and now it's pushing all the way to the downside. So our expectation is to see Aussie dollar continue to push price all the way down to take out these lows, and then we maintain the bearish order flow on the monthly time frame. So we drop down to the weekly time frame. We want to see what's going on the weekly. We can see that the structure is still bearish right here, right? We had this break mitigations. I mean, this pullback, break, then price came back, grabbed liquidity, failed to close above. Bullish sentiment in the market depleting. Then we had this change of character right here. So price now is around 50% of this range high and low, which is a very valid zone to look for sales. So if we drop down to the daily time frame, we can see that price is reacting at this point of interest right here. So soon price comes to my daily point of interest. As you guys know, I like to drop down to 4-hour time frame. I like to see what's going on the 4-hour. So we go to 4-hour time frame. What we see is that once price tapped that extreme demand zone, I mean extreme supply zone, we can see that we had this aggressive in and out V-shaped recovery, which usually is a liquidation, right? And usually it can be a sign that the bullish sentiment is losing strength, because if bulls comes with this strength and then the sellers also come aggressively, they're countering that bullish move, right? So we had the change of character right here, the break to the downside. Then we had price coming. It actually ended up closing above this previous high, but we can see that this low didn't follow through when it came to the mitigation, and then continued to provide that bullish order flow. We had price breaking this previous structure low. It came back to this zone. I think this we can see on the hourly time. Yes, perfect. We can see right here on this hourly, we have this supply zone right here. So price just came into this zone. This is the hourly. So once price comes to my hourly, let's drop down to the M15. So here we are on M15. So what I will be looking for, I mean, what I'm saying is that we had this high. Then price made this low before it made this high. So then we can say that, okay, this low was broken right here. So this was the change of character, right? Break of structure. So we have a point of interest, this zone right here, right? So we have this point of interest. So I'll mark this as a point of interest, right? POI. So price just broke structure. What I'm expecting to see is price to come all the way up to this point of interest, and during London I'll look for lower time frames opportunities to sell all the way down. And if you look at what's going on, we're pretty much seeing the daily, from the monthly, right? Monthly is bearish, weekly is bearish, daily bearish, hourly is bearish. So now once price comes to my hourly supply, we wait for M15 to also give us that sign of bearish intention, and we head right here with it. M15 change of character, right? And we can see that with these weeks right here, multiple attempts for price to push above, price failed to close above this previous high. That's the first sign of bullish sentiment in the market losing strength, and bears actually taking control over the market right here. That's why we had the change of character, break, body closure. Now we expect price to come to this point of interest before we drop down to lower time frame to continue the sales, right? So that's basically it for Aussie dollar. Let's move to the next pair. So GU, we can look at it from the daily time frame. I mean, I don't think we need to look left, I mean, that much. We can just look at what's going on the daily time frame. We can see that we had this break, mitigation, break, right to the upside. So the structure on the daily is bullish, right? And we can see the price came to this week right here. This was the last point of sellers exhaustion before buyers came in, pushed the body up to break the previous structure high. So price now is mitigating this demand zone right here. So if we go down, for example, to, let me just use the 8-hour time frame, we can see a nice zone right here. Price actually came to this point of interest right here. This is the extreme, and we can see a ton of liquidity that was being engineered right here, this equal lows right here. So price just swept right here, right? It came to the downside. Now price comes to my demand zone. Of course, we're supposed to look for buys, right? But this is a daily demand zone. We can't forget about that. So once we drop down, for example, to 4 hour, or let me just use the 2 hours time frame real quick. I believe we can use the 4 hour. I think it's much cleaner. Yeah. So if we look what's going on here, we can see that price, we had this structure high, right? This was the structure low, then the structure high, and then the structure low. What happened? Price actually attempted to break above the previous high, but it failed to close above. We didn't have a body closure here. It was just a liquidation with a wick, right? So this is the bullish sentiment of the market losing strength right here. And then bears came aggressive. You can see this, these huge bearish candles right here. We had the break. Price came back to mitigate the zone responsible for that bearish move, and then we had the second break right here. So the order flow on GU, we can see that on the 4 hour the order flow is bearish, and price just tapped this 4 hour supply zone. If we go down, for example, to 2 hours time frame, we can see a very clean bullish candle right here, and right here we have this nice last up candle before the down move that went on to break the previous low. So price just came to this order block. So this is the 4 hour supply zone. Usually, as we know, once price comes to my 4 hour, I like to drop down to M15 to look for sales. So if I drop down to M15, we can see something interesting right here. Is that we had this previous structure high, then this low, then price attempted to break above right here. This actually was the news, but it failed, right? But we had the break of structure here, right? So price ended up closing above this previous structure high right here. But what happened is that if we look at the internal structure, we had this previous high and then this internal low, and then we had price failing to continue the bullish move, because if price pulled back here, we expect price to continue all the way up, right? But there is a possibility that price may come to, is just deciding to come to this demand zone before we see the continuation to the upside. But we also need to keep in mind that price is mitigating an hourly supply zone, and the structure is still bearish on the hourly, although daily is still bullish. So what I'm looking at is this supply zone right here. So I have this supply zone marked up. So let me just say this is POI. So we had the break. Now price is reacting also at this demand zone right here. So what I'll be looking for is to see, okay, will price break, start to push all the way down and break this low? It will just confirm that, okay, more likely than not, price is going to take out the hourly low. But if price continues to push to the upside, maybe we could look for buys, right, all the way up to this supply zone. But then once price comes here, I'll be monitoring for sales. If I see my sell confirmation, I will take the sell all the way down, because I'm still aware that the hourly is still bearish. Okay, so I mean that's just basically it for GU. This is the M15. So M15 mitigated the supply zone, respected the supply zone. We had this internal change of character right here, break of structure. So we're expecting to see some reaction at this zone right here. So we'll actually see what's gonna happen on Monday, right? So that's it for GU. Let's move to the next page. So New Zealand dollar, we can start from on the weekly as well, and this is quite similar to Aussie dollar, because we have this exactly same bearish structure. The overall picture is the same, and price came to this extreme supply zone. Once price tapped here, if we drop down to the daily time frame, we can clearly see that price failed to close above the previous structure high, because on the daily, remember, we had the structure high, we had this swing low, and then price made this high. So what happened? Price failed to close above. We didn't have a body closure right there. So that was a sign that the bullish sentiment is losing strength at this particular point. That's why we had this strong bearish candle coming right next to. Once bulls lost strength, the sales came aggressively and provided us the daily change of character within the weekly supply zone. Very important. So now, if we look at the range from this high all the way to this low, and we use the Fibonacci, we have this low, and we mark all the way to the upside. Then we say, okay, I'm willing to sell anything above 50%, which is the premium zone. So we have this supply, and we also have this one at the extreme right here. Right, so price currently is respecting this one, the first one, and once price comes to my daily, I drop down to the 4-hour time frame. So here we are on the 4-hour. Price came. If we read the structure, we can see that we had this high, we had the low. Price then made this high, low, still inside the POI. Then it made this high. What happened is that then we had this strong push to the downside that took out this low and also this low. So we can see that the bearish pressure is still strong right here on New Zealand dollar. We have this supply zone right here, which is around 50% of this range low and range high. So price currently is respecting the supply zone, right? And once price comes to my hourly supply, I will drop down to 20 minutes time frame, for example, or it can be M15, no problem. So once we read structure, we can see that okay, we had the high, we had this low, then price made this high. So I said, okay, this low right here is being violated already. So just by looking at the M20, we can see that price is attempting to close below this previous structure low right here. So once it does that, if I go to 30 minutes time frame, I'm still expecting to see price to close below, right? Let's see what's gonna happen once the market opens, and I will look into this supply zone right here, right? So once price closes below, I will wait for the pullback towards this point of interest, and then I will drop down to lower time frame to look for sales all the way down, because we know that the weekly is bearish, daily is bearish. So we want to make sure that all time frames are aligned together on the same bias, which is for sales, right? So that's it for New Zealand dollar. Let's go to the last pair, USD JPY. I mean, this pair has been incredible for me personally. I mean, this month UJ has been just generous. Very, very good pair, man. I mean, UJ is doing a great job. If we look at what's going on right here, we can see that the weekly structure is bullish. Price came to this weekly extreme demand zone, is holding, right? So once price comes to my weekly demand, I like to drop down to the daily, right? I want to see that daily change of character. So here we are on the daily. So we can see that once price tapped the weekly demand zone, we had the daily change of character, right? So price actually gave us that daily change of character. It came back, right? And then it gave us the second break. So the order flow on the daily time frame has been established. It's confirmed, right? We have the two balls right here. So we can see that, okay, this right here was that mitigation right here. We can delete this box right here. So we can see that, okay, done. We have the break. We had the break, price came back, mitigated this bearish, right, this bullish order block, continued to push to the upside right here, and it closed above the previous daily high. So the daily bullish order flow has been established after the two balls, right? So now we have the break of structure. This one was actually the break that was responsible for taking the previous high. If we look down, pretty much everything has been mitigated. If you look here, price mitigated, right? The broke structure here came back mitigated. We had the break, price came back, mitigated this order block. We had also the break right here. Price came back, mitigated the order block. So if we look at the price action below, everything is efficient here, right? All the order blocks have been mitigated. So there is no reason for price to come all the way down here. I mean, even though price may decide to do that, but technically, there is no reason for price to come all the way down. We can see that the only order block that has been left unmitigated was this one, responsible for finally not only taking this hourly, this 4-hour high, also ended up breaking the previous daily high. So it's a very strong order block. So my expectation is to see price come all the way down to this order block, and then we have the continuation to the upside. We know the weekly is bullish, right? So we have the order block, so I'll name this POY. That's the daily order block that I'm looking at. So usually what happens is that once we have this bullish push to the upside, I like to wait for price to come all the way down, right? But for the fact that I'm an intraday scalper, I like to look for selling opportunities so I can play the pullback, so I can play the daily pullback towards its POY before we continue to the upside. So for that, I really need to see the hourly to also change to bearish. So let's just drop down to the 1 hour time frame. So if we look at the 1 hour, on the 1 hour time frame, we can see that we had this previous structure high, then price made this low, then we had this strong push all the way to the upside right here. So my swing structure is I still consider this to be my high, low, and then this to be my high swing structure. My swing structures right here, swing structure high, low, and high. So we can see that, okay, price had this price action on the M15, right? It broke, came back, mitigated. We can see that price then came back to the extremity, all the way down to this POY aggressively right here. I think this was the news yesterday. Before price now is supposed to, we're expecting price to continue the move to the upside. So because price came to this demand zone, I will still look for buys. I will still look for buys up, right? So in order for me to look for sales, I need to see UJ breaking this low right here. So once price takes out this low, that's when I will have the confirmation that, okay, the daily is ready to have a pullback towards its point of interest, right? So right now price came to the demand zone. This is the hour. I think if we go to M15, let's just see what's going on the M15. We can see that, we had this minor break of structure right here. Not really strong one, but we can see that price then came back to this order block, right? So there is still been a reaction here. I want to see if price is going to continue all the way up. Also, I will monitor this this supply zone right here, because this was a strong bearish pressure into the order block. So this may be a sign that the sellers have taken over. They've taken control of the market at this particular point. So I will also monitor the reaction at this supply zone. So I will consider that, okay, this right here was the break. Price came back perfectly to mitigate this order block right here. Right, we can see that price came to this order block and then aggressively had this move to the downside. So I'll still wait, because we can, once the market opens, we can still buy up all the way up, right? Because the hourly is still bullish. But if it happens to fail and take out the hourly low, that's when we're gonna sell to ride the daily pullback towards its order block, right? So I hope I was able to make this outlook clear for you guys for the next week. I hope you guys have an incredible week next week. And if you guys like the video, man, just smash the like button for me, subscribe. If you're willing to join the mentorship, the signals have been very good. So if you want to join the mentorship, I'll leave my contact on the description box below. And I will see you guys on the next one.